and our WhatsApp. Send your comments, share the page, and be part of us. I'm not alone tonight. I'm with my elders. On my right, I have the resident financial expert, my elder, Erasmus Mpela Rasibega. Next to him, I also have my elder, Elder Dumi Haitate. Elder Dumi is also a financial literacy trader. He has spent years in the debt counseling. By profession, he's a mechanical engineering technician. Welcome, my elders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I go on tonight, let's just appreciate the father of the house, Archbishop Owen McGregor, for opening up this platform for us to engage and to educate one another in these critical life issues. All right, are you ready to kickstart?
No, we are ready. We are ready.
We're ready.
Today's topic, viewers at home, it's the importance of a good credit score. You know, one could say, I'm okay, I don't need a loan, I don't need financial assistance. But circumstances change, situations change, so it's important to know how to keep a good credit record for a rainy days, God forbid, but these things happen. So to start the program, my elder, please tell us, what is the significance of a credit in our lives?
Well, I think like you just said that you can never have enough for yourself. So at some point, you are going to need assistance. You are going to get into... In fact, let's put it this way. There is nobody who doesn't use somebody's money to make something in this life. Whether you're a business, everybody is borrowing money. Even the money that is in the bank is somebody's money. So everybody, we are in this is the system that we find ourselves. This is what drives the economy. At some point, you're going to borrow money. At some point, somebody's going to borrow money from you. So therefore, it's all in your creditworthiness.
Absolutely. Do you know how much I love the idea of not using my money? My elder, tell me, what is a credit record? Take us back to the basics so that for a viewer at home who does not understand what it is, we can't assume that people know. Yeah. Take us through.
Okay, basically a credit record is a history of all your financial transactions. You know, when you are young, maybe you open up a clothing account or maybe have a credit card. So all those things, everything that you've ever done, transactions that you have ever engaged yourself with, either buying things on credit, it forms part of your credit record. Now, it's important to understand that everything eventually will catch up with you. And what do I mean by that is that sometimes there are certain things maybe it's out of ignorance. We think that I was young, I opened up maybe an account, and then for whatever reason I couldn't pay it, and then I just sort of ignored it. Even if you ignore it, the record remains. So your credit record is something that we must fully understand that it is basically there forever. And it's absolutely essential that you do whatever is within your means to make sure that your credit record is good, it's well maintained. You don't have any negatives whereby it appears that you are unable to pay your debts in time, or you don't even pay people. So all those things will have an impact later on in your life. So it's important that, you know, we understand what a credit record is. So in brief, it's basically a history of everything that we've ever done financially. That's it.
Very important, my elder. I remember back in the day when I was still at school, and you get these credits, like you have a card, a clothing account card, and I didn't understand the repercussions or the consequences of using that credit. And you never think that it would catch up with you in the near future. Thank you for sharing that. My elder, do you know in the business world, when we do business, we talk about business reputation. Everyone wants to do business with a reputable business. Now, when we cascade that to a personal or to an individual level, that is also very important, that as a person, what is your reputation with your creditors? there is that importance that is in the name. What is in a credit-worthy name, and what can affect our personal record?
Okay, so basically, we can put it in this way that not all of us are born, from rich families where they leave us chunks of inheritance and all of that. So at some point, you start up with a name. That's all that you have. You have a good name. You've got a name, and with all that, your skill and your talent, you've got an ability, you've got a potential to earn a living. So you've got that potential in your name, and that's all that you have at times, and most of us, that's all that we have. And therefore, it is upon you in terms of the decisions that you do and the commitments that you do that you maintain your name worthy of a good reputation, that when a potential lender looks at your name, they feel that they can trust you with their money. They feel that you have the potential to pay them back, because essentially this whole topic is all about, if I give you money, is this person of a good reputation that they can pay me my money back? And that is the essential part of it, that you need to be able to honor your commitments and pay back the money. And it all goes back to your credit record, because everything is recorded on your name. Whatever you do, whatever credit you take, whatever you do, it's all in a name. So everything is reduced to a name.
My elder, if you can take it further, what are some of the things that we do unawares that really affect our name?
Things like paying your accounts late. Sometimes people have this misconception that banks really want to repossess people's cars or houses. And that's not really the truth, because a bank or any lending institution, all that they want, like my elders just mentioned, is that they just want their money paid back. So if a person finds themselves in a situation that, for whatever reason, you are not able to commit to the monthly payment, it's essential that don't wait for month end or whatever the day your debit's supposed to run. Call them beforehand and say, guys, I'm having such and such a problem. Please let us come to a certain arrangement. But it's very dangerous to ignore people that you owe money. I mean, it's like what my elders just mentioned. It's all about your name. If people know that you are not trustworthy, nobody's going to give you credit or lend you money in future. So if a person finds themselves that for whatever reason, you know what, I'm not going to be able to honor my financial commitments, please call your banker or whoever is borrowing you money beforehand. Don't wait for them to call you. Once they start calling you, that there's a problem now. So, yeah.
But I could just add there that things like a criminal record, court judgments, debt review, blacklisting, whatever. We will explain the term blacklisting, I think, a little bit later on. But finding yourself with bankruptcy. And sometimes there are things that will mess up with your name that don't have to really have much to do with credit. Things like who you associate with, things like social media posts. On all of these things, they all affect our names. And therefore, I think my sister is asking this question, trying to make us aware of how precious our name is, and how, if we keep it intact, it can unlock many doors.
Absolutely, my elder. It's amazing, right? That it's something as posting, something as mundane as posting a status on social media could actually get you in trouble.
Let's remember about the lady that entered Miss South Africa. The lady posted, she was 14 years old. A controversial post, and 8-9 years later she wants to enter Miss South Africa, and it comes back to bite.
Yeah, you know what? Interesting about social media, I think we all need to be very careful of what we say and what we write and what we like or what we take, because all these things, even now, employers, people may not know this, but if you're applying for a job or whatever, even for business, I can guarantee you, your name is going to be Googled. And Because the things that you do privately, they paint a fuller picture of who you really are. Because when you go to people, you can dress up and be this nice person, but who you are privately, that's who you are. And that's why people go and check all these things about whatever you say. So we all need to be careful. Again, it comes back to our name. We need to make sure that our name is clean. It's associated with, good things, positive things.
Absolutely. I actually worked in HR years back, and I do know that we do those, or used to do those credit checks, especially if you're going to be holding a position where you have to deal with money or sensitive information or company information. It's very critical that you are able to demonstrate that you are financially responsible. So it's amazing, the things that really...
Because in those positions, people entrust you with resources. So if they need to entrust you with a few millions and you can't deal with your few rands, then it's a problem.
Exactly. My elder tell me, what does one need to have a good credit rating? Or what do you need it for? Basically?
Okay, let's say why do you need a good credit rating? You need a good credit rating basically to be able to access cash or money. Now, what we've already mentioned before is that it's highly unlikely that you can make good progress in life without having access to money. I mean, eventually you would want to buy a car, you would want to buy a house, maybe you want to start business, you need to raise funds for your business. So all of us at one point in time, we will need to access other people's monies because, our money alone is not enough. So that is why it's important to understand that this whole idea about having a good credit record is to position yourself to be able to access money. That's what it all comes down to. If your credit record is not good, what is going to happen is that you will find that the banks will charge you a higher interest because they say that you are a risk to them. So to safeguard themselves, they were going to charge you more. The people that you want to also go into business with, if your credit rating is not good, they may have doubts about you because how can you be entrusted with more money if on a personal level you cannot manage the little that you have? So that is why it's important that we understand that a good credit record or a good credit score is all about you having access to money. And having access to money will make life a bit easier for you so that you can achieve certain things in life, like mentioned, buying cars, houses, and those sort of things. So that's one of the key reasons why you must have a always good credit record, yeah.
Thank you, my elder. Elder Rasberg, let's get technical. I know this is your stuff. You love going deeper into this technical stuff. Okay. How is the credit record compiled and calculated? I know there's certain scores that one needs to meet, that if you are above 650 or something, but you'll go deeper into that.
Yeah, I think what basically happens is as we transact on a daily basis, the different institutions that we have these relationships with, they collate our information and basically send it to your bureaus, your credit bureaus that, so think about it this way. When you needed to get credit, these people went to the credit bureau to check whether you're credit worthy. So now when you continue to process or you're conducting your account, the very same people then are telling the very same bureaus how you are conducting that account. Okay, so and then so let's say I make a payment, right? You will see if you have access to your credit record, it becomes green. And say, for instance, you don't make a payment, you will see that, or you make a late payment, or let's say you don't pay the first month, it becomes yellow. You don't pay the second month, it becomes a darkish yellow. And you don't pay the third month, it becomes red. So they don't just make you red from the onset. They give you a little bit of time so that you can make amends. So so in all of these things that you know, it's busy adding up little bit by bit, and in that time you have a bit of time to go to the banks and say, you know what, I'm having an issue there and there. So before then you can renegotiate a better payment term. So that's basically how. So all of these institutions will then send your information to these bureaus, and then that becomes public information, you know, so everybody then can know that you did not pay your bank account. And I think another important thing that we must not neglect is our check accounts, because we have overdrafts or we have limits in our bank accounts, and sometimes you go in the red in those bank accounts. And you think, because, you know, I catch up, my salary is going to go back there. But those are things that also get sent to the bureaus, and you find yourself that sometimes you've got a credit card, you say, okay, no, but I know I've got money in my credit card. I'll pay it next month. But the fact that there was no payment, there was no, you know, payment that was made into that account, it also clicks there. So it goes back to being diligent and making sure that if you've got a commitment, you must honor it.
Absolutely. Viewers at home, I hope you're still with us. Send us your comments, your questions, and my panel of experts here will answer your questions. I have one here from Pelogazi. She's asking if it is advisable to have accounts or to not have them at all.
You know, that's one of the classic questions that is always asked. Because the reality is, for you to have a good score, you need to have a financial history. And for you to have a financial history, you need to have 1 or 2 accounts. Look, the key thing is you must just honor your commitments. Don't go into too much debt whereby you find yourself that you are no longer able to pay your accounts. But yes, have an account, have 2 accounts, so that at least you have a credit record, something that somebody can refer to. So I personally, I grew up with a mother who always told me that you don't need a clothing account. And up to so far, I've never had a clothing account. But yes, I have a bond, I have a car, you know. So it's possible that you can live your life without unnecessary debt. You know, it's something that we all need to be aware of, yes.
Yeah, it is, just to echo on what the elder is saying, that it's a touch-and-go situation, because they say, we're trying to say reduce, but you must have, for this, but you must have, like he says, a mix of good credit. And with the clothing accounts, you know, there is a limitation even on practicalities. If you've got a Woolworths account, you know, it's a sad one where the kids can't buy anywhere.
Yeah.
As Nampatla Woolworths, you know, and now they're grown up, they're 12 years, they want to buy other. So, you know, sometimes you can have one, but maybe a credit card would serve better, because then it gives you a little bit of more flexibility. But to echo what the elder said, that, you know, yes, you will need, you know, sometimes even if it's not a credit card, but just having a telephone, a cell phone thing, it just shows that you're able to handle credit.
Actually, thank you for clarifying some of these myths, because we thought if you don't have that account or that credit record, you will not qualify for anything out there, which takes me back to what we spoke about earlier, my elder, where you said we'll address some of the misconceptions about blacklisting.
Okay. Do you want to take that one, Elder?
Oh, no, start, I'll add. Okay.
So when we grew up, we always had our parents say, I'm blacklisted at Edgar's. So, and it's like, sometimes we think of it as if having you not paying your account, you've got a judgment or like a criminal record. But in essence, what it is that if you default on your payments, you become red. Your scoring becomes bad. So you've got different types of scoring, different categories. Therefore, you might fall into the category of, you know, poor, very poor credit record. And when you maintain that record, then, or you go and negotiate with the relevant stakeholders, you can find that you recover. So you can recover. The only issue is when you've got a judgment against your name, because now what happens is the different institutions are busy looking for you. Edgar's, ABSA, Standard Bank is sending you letters and calling you, and you are ignoring them until they go and say, we can't find this guy, we'll make a court judgment. And when you go in your Peru, you find you've got a court judgment, And from a court judgment, then it can deteriorate into, liquidation if you still don't look after it. So that is just a little bit of the misconception.
Yeah, as you're talking about credit bureaus, I think it's essential that viewers at home are aware that in terms of the law, you have a right to get your credit report once a year from every credit bureau. So whether it's Experian, it's XDS, it's TransUnion, all of them. It doesn't mean that because you got a credit report from TransUnion, you can't get it from XDS. In fact, what I would advise is that as a start, get your credit reports from maybe 3 of the most reputable credit bureaus. Because sometimes it happens that one credit bureau has a record of a debt and another one does not have. So as a basic start, have your credit reports from all 3 or 4 credit bureaus and check. Now, the reason you need to also check is that we live in times whereby there is fraud. You may find that somebody fraudulently used your name to get credit. So as soon as you pick up your credit record, you can notice debts that obviously you don't know, and you can make follow-ups so that the right authorities are aware that this is not your debt, and you can take the necessary precautions. And now, talking about credit reports, when my elder here is talking about scoring and all those things, these things become much more easy to relate with if you are having your credit report in front of you. So hopefully in maybe one of the next future sessions, it will be good that as a homework, everybody must just go and get their credit report so that next time we have this engagement, everybody is actually looking at their report so that our discussion becomes much more real and clear, because we will be dealing with things that they are looking at on paper.
I love that. Actually, there's one that I know, My Credit Checks, where you can actually punch in your ID. It will give you your credit information and how to manage your information, as well as how to enhance your credit profile. Yes. So that's really something to look to. Okay, viewers at home, they are keeping the questions coming as we requested. I have one here. It says, how long does it take to have a good score again when debts are cleared? How long does it take to have a good score again? Is it when debts are cleared?
It takes time. So let's say I pay off my debts. So it's not just about you having paid, now I'm on zero. They also check whether you are able to sustain your commitment, you are able to continue. Maybe you might pay your debt, but remain within that category of poor people who pay poorly. But as you continue to clean up your name, you will find that within 6 months you move to the next level. Within a year you are green again. So it is important that you know that it's not a once-off. You can say, well, let's think about it this way. You get retrenched and you go and you pay off all your debts. It does not necessarily mean that you're managing your credit well. It just that meant you had a windfall of money and then you paid it. It doesn't show them that you're really looking after your money. So you must give it time that you continuously show this behavior that you are able to maintain that credit level.
Yes, just to add on that, really, to build up your credit score, it's about your behavior over a period of time. So yes, having a lump sum and then clearing your debt doesn't necessarily mean now you are a good payer. You need to show consistency over a period of time, let's say 6 to 12 months. But all that needs to be seen is that you are able to handle your money. When money comes in, you know that you have responsibilities, you have debts, there are people that you will pay. You are a person who will honor your commitments. It all comes down to that.
Honor your commitments. They do not disappear, hey? Okay, another question here is, if my car was repossessed and on a later stage I managed to get some money, will I get my car back? How will this make impact on my rating score?
Do you want to start?
Okay. Look, once your car is repossessed, because usually once the banks repossess your car, all that they are going to do is to sell it in auction so that they can recover their money. So the chances that you can get your car back after it's been repossessed, I would say they're slim. I won't say it's impossible. It might happen that your car gets repossessed this month and then somehow you manage to put some monies together. Maybe within a week or two, you can get your car back. But generally, once your material, your car, house is repossessed, the chances of you getting it back are quite slim. Yeah.
And remember, there was a process, and some of the processes include legal processes. So when we get to the finality of it being processed, it's very finally repossessed. It's very final. So, but the good thing is going to make amends. You go and repay, and hopefully your name can recover.
Yeah.
Lovely. One thing that I've noticed about these institutions, whether it's clothing shops or the banks, they're so eager to give you money. They will give you this large credit that is available for use, and yet there is that thing of saying, irrespective of how big your credit is, you should use up to 40% of that credit. Can you get more into that in terms of what could be harming your credit score?
Okay. Who goes first?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I can take that. It's a very good example that you put there, my sister, because if you don't need a credit card of 200,000, rather you cut it down to what you need, because now, if you're applying for a house, you've got a credit card of 200,000, and you've only used 20,000. They don't only say no, he's only used 20,000. They take the whole 200,000 as if you've used it. Because they know that, well, he can buy a house and tomorrow I'm going to reward myself with a car. Because you've got that credit. So the good thing is always have the credit to what you need, basically. But also think about, again, we go back to some of the things that we mentioned. Think about your current account, your check account. How you manage it is very important, because that's where primarily your money goes in there. And so cater for things like if bank charges, sometimes we use our money, when you calculate your budget, you don't consider things like bank charges and interest and all of these things, and they come and hit you and they find you, they put you in the red. Simple things. Make sure that when you've put the debit orders there is money on that date. Make sure you pay your debts on time. It's very important that you pay your debt on time. Maybe you can elaborate more.
Yeah, especially talking about credit cards, I think it's important that as people, we need to learn to live within our means. There's a book that I was reading that's talking about some of the common habits that successful people have. And they will tell you the very first habit is that you must learn to live within your means. If you earn 10,000 as an example, don't live a 15,000 rand life. You're not living within your means. So very soon, you will now have to go and get credit to try and patch up where things are not coming together. So all of us, we need to be very honest with ourselves. If your friend is earning 20,000, good for him, good for her. That's not you. If your friend is earning 100,000, good for them. If you're not there yet, don't try and live a life that is way beyond you. Because sometimes, people get themselves in a tight corner financially because why? You end up buying things to impress people. So that is why there's this need now. You need to have credit cards. You need to have all these things. This will actually now take you down financially. So sometimes it's good that we always pause and ask ourselves, but why do I need this type of debt? can I do without it? Yeah.
And just to do further service to justice to your question, you know, simple things that could also harm your credit card, things like, you know, defaults, and you find that you've got, what is these things where you don't pay your child maintenance,
Yes,
garnishi
yes.
orders.
Yes, yeah.
Please pay your child's maintenance. So things like, you know, they check things like when you change your addresses. You know, today you are here, tomorrow you are there. They look at you as you're very unstable.
Yeah.
Things like changing your numbers. They call you on this number and they can't find you on this number. You make an impression, an image that you're a slippery character. You
Yes,
can't be
yeah.
found anywhere. You know, so you need, and also very much important, when people call you and they say we can give you so much credit, and you always say, yeah, no, let me see how much I can get. No, let me see how much I can get. You should only allow people to make queries on your name if you really need cash, because people, when these institutions, this one goes and make an inquiry on your name, that one makes an inquiry on your name, it gives the impression that in a space of 6 months, this guy has tried to get credit 15 times,
Yes.
you know. So even with the insurances, they call you 10 times in a month wanting to make give you an insurance, but when they want to quote you, they will make an inquiry on your name. So you need to be careful that not a lot of people make inquiries on your name, because to the other person who wants to finance you, looks at you like, yo, lo muntu desperate, you know, is forever looking for credit.
It's a very good point you're making, because I think people need to actually be aware that actually each and every time an institution like a bank makes an inquiry, they also check with the credit bureau, and that inquiry is also recorded. It's something that people may not be aware that you go to the bank to ask for a loan, it gets declined, but the fact that you went to ask, it gets recorded. You go to FNB, then Standard Bank, then whoever. All those inquiries, they get recorded. That is why we say that, you know, your credit record, it's a history of your financial life. When a person pulls out your credit record, they can see what type of person you are. Are you a person who is good with handling money? Are you a person who is always desperate for money? So it paints a picture about your life. And that's why we need to be careful. We are not getting so many inquiries unnecessarily. We must always assess, do we really need this type of debt? Yeah.
So true, which is quite interesting, because I think sometimes it's like a double-edged sword. I mean, when you speak about debt review or debt consolidation, you would think as a responsible citizen, you don't want to dishonor your commitments. So you go for other means of how can I best manage my debts and pay them. And yet, in the same breath, you are shooting yourself in the foot, because when they do those checks, that also counts that you have been under debt review.
I'm sure my elder is going to emphasize. The thing is, these things have become so commercialized, especially debt review. It's not really serving its purpose. A lot of us might find ourselves that you are under debt review, but you don't necessarily, not at that stage where you need to be under debt review. So you are struggling a little bit, but it's not at the place where you can then say you justify to be under debt review. And the impact with debt review and debt consolidation, and this is the biggest risk with them, is that, say I have paid off my car, I've paid off my house, let's say I've paid off my debt for 2 years or 3 years. And on the 3rd year, I run into difficulties. And then I go to this debt consolidation. They are always there, debt review. They're always willing to offer you money. And what I'm basically doing is, on the 3rd year, they give me that money. I save 2,000 rand, and I say, oh, 2,000 rand has come back into my wallet. But little do I know that the 3 years that I've already paid, I'm starting them afresh. So, and especially with debt review, they'll give you 8 to 12 years, you know. So, you basically, and the value of money is always linked to time. So the quicker you can pay off your debt, the better. So now they're not helping you because they're prolonging you in that debt situation.
Yeah, you know, it's very important that we must understand that this is all about having a good name in the market. So sometimes before you even think of going to get your debt consolidated or debt review, ask yourself, what else could I do to get out of debt? Could I maybe drive a smaller car? Could I maybe sell and move into a smaller house? You know, let us do what we can do before we consider all those things. Those things should be like your last resort, whereby now you are now in a tight corner. But in most cases, people can scale back in life. You know, it's not a shame in life to say, okay, fine, I may not be driving that car that I love to drive. Drive a car that gets you from point A to point B. You know, the most expensive cell phone, now you can get a cell phone for 20 or 30,000. I mean, whether you're using a 30,000 phone or a 500 rand phone, so long as when people call you, they can find you. You know, so why I'm saying this is that what else can we do before we come to a point whereby we now have to go for debt review and debt consolidation? Because in most cases, there's always things we can cut back that are, you know, things that are not necessary. So it's good that we start there before we consider the last resort.
Very fundamental question to ask ourselves, what more can I cut?
Yes.
That's very, very instructive, my elder. Now, there is this assumption, my elders, that if you are overly indebted or you have a poor bid or you have a poor credit score, you are more prone to claiming from your insurances. And as a result, the insurance companies, they tend to charge higher insurance premium on that. What are other benefits of keeping a good credit score?
Look, a good credit score will help you in so many ways. Like, first of all, earlier on we mentioned that if you are going to get a loan, either to get a bond, you'll get a good rate. Basically, a good credit score simply tells institutions that you are a responsible person. You are a person who honors your commitment. So yes, even when it comes to insurance, although insurance now it's a different science altogether, because now there are actuaries who study probabilities. They will tell you that if a person is young, they are likely to go out with friends and party. So the chances of them having an accident is high. If you are over 40 or 50, you are probably 6 o'clock, you are at home. So the likelihood of you having an accident is less. So it's a different science altogether. But the bottom line is this. Your good credit record will help you in so many ways. You won't be charged more for debt, I mean for the loans that you acquire. Even for insurance, yes, definitely you're going to get far better premiums. So your life will be better in so many spaces, you know, in so many areas. Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes we don't grasp the cost of credit. And if we grasp that part, we will understand it. You think about it this way, that, you know, I always think about when you take a bond versus a car, that you buy a 500,000 car and you buy a 500,000 house. The one takes 20 years to pay off. The other one takes, what?
Maybe 6 to 7 years.
6 to 7 years. So, in all of these things is the other one is spending a good 10 years, 12 years paying off credit, or paying off the interest. And that's where the crux of the matter is, that in today's terms, the prime is what, 7%, 7.25%. And like you said, you get a poor credit record. It doesn't mean you can't get financing. You can still get financing, but guess how much they're going to charge you? 25%. Now think about this. Your colleague is paying 7%. You're paying 25%, 27%. So that's where the others get impoverished and the others get rich. But, you know, so with a good credit record, you also have a better chances of getting that approval.
Yes.
So you've got more chances of getting a yes than a no. You can then negotiate better rates because you've got a good credit name. And also, coming back to you do get better car insurances. There is a little bit of grace that's given to you because they know they're not going to be calling you every 2 minutes, so you get that. And you can also, in some cases where they demand deposits from other people, if you've got a good credit name, you can get away without having to pay 20,000 deposits and 30,000 deposits. You can always see it with these cars. This car, you find a car is so cheap. Yeah. And you go there and, you know what, I think only 10% of people qualify because they take the cream. And the rest of us, we have to now pay credits, we have to pay deposit to even get a look in.
Thank you for actually clarifying that, my elder. I remember at some point there was an issue, some hullabaloo on social media about one person contacted an insurance company, and he got, low premiums. Yes. Another person contacted the call center, like literally a few hours later, and this other person got a high premium. Yeah. Now, the difference was that the first one was black and the other one was white. Yeah, yeah. And now it became a race issue, that why is it because I'm black? Yeah. But thank you for clarifying that, because at least it sheds some light so that we get to understand these things. Yeah. There's a question at home from Sis Jeannie. She says, most of the time when you don't have an account or a credit card and you go to the bank, ask for a loan, the bank will give you loan, but your installment will be high. They said you are at risk. Can you please explain? I think that's something that you just touched on.
Yeah, I think that has already been mentioned, that, sometimes to build a record for yourself, look, even if you know that you don't need, I'm going to use a silly number, even if you know that you don't need 10,000, if you don't have a good track record or any financial record, sometimes, yes, you can just go get that loan, pay it off in 5-6 months, so that at least there's a track record. Because all we need to remember is that institutions, they just want to see what type of person you are. So if you don't have any record at all, they have nothing to refer back to. So that is why sometimes it's not like we're encouraging people to be reckless, but sometimes, yes, you do need to build a track record somehow. Yeah.
No, I can't add more. He nailed it.
He has said it all. My elders, just to take you back a little bit, because I think some of these things, they hinge more on our behaviors. What is the impact of you having a criminal record or getting arrested, whether rightfully or wrongfully so? What impact does it have?
It may not necessarily impact you in terms of your getting a financing, but you ask yourself, who are the users of that information? Potential employers, potential investors, potential business partners. So, it is so important that we don't unnecessarily get ourselves, with criminal records. I mean, we could have a booze and we drive out and bam, I've got a criminal record. You are a CA, you are whatever, you are a lawyer, nobody can trust you now. A lot of these institutions that you associated with, they want clean names. So all of these things, it's all about the reputation that you paint of yourself. So again, it goes back to what my elder was saying about the importance of also, whether when you say rightly or wrongly, we need to have rear, your mirrors, whether rear mirrors, whatever, all your mirrors, you need to have them in terms of checking and having access to your credit record to see what is listed there, because there could be mistakes, and you could be married, you could be not Mrs. Msivi, but Mrs. You could be Mrs. Nzimande or something like that. So you really need to consult your credit record and make it a habit that you always check what's happening there.
Yeah, no, look, it's important that we always check our reputation, because this is really about your reputation. I mean, think of a situation where there's that other judge, who I shall not name, who went on a booze and now crashed down somebody's wall. So the fact that you are a judge, but you are caught drinking, it doesn't really suit your profession. So everything that we do in life, it's going to impact us one way or the other, whether it's financially or whether we're looking for jobs or whatever. So even, yes, a criminal record will have a type of impact. It's just that we just need to be careful out there. Don't do something that will get you in trouble. And because sometimes it may take years, 10, 20 years, or even longer, to just try and recover your name. I once came across a saying that, it takes years to build up your good name. But within a few minutes, you can have it destroyed. So we all need to be very careful.
And remember that we are in a competitive environment. So I go with my elder for an interview, and I'm well-spoken and all of these things, but they say, but hey, it's Boshalo.
Yeah.
And the chances are, because it's a competitive environment, they want to take the one with a clean record.
Wow. Any closing words, my elders?
I think for me, the most important thing is goes back to having eyes on your credit record. I think what you are able to control. What you see, you are able to change. So it's very important. And like my elder said, it's you can get it once a year. With TransUnion and Experian, you can get these things for less than 300 rand a year. And they can even debit your account for 18 rand or 20 rand if you don't want to pay the whole amount at a go. So have that credit record, study it. The more you see it, you can see how change is happening. You can see yourself move from red, from yellow to green. So it is of the utmost importance that you have your eyes always. And also, these days, identity theft is so prevalent, so it is of the utmost importance that you have your eyes on your credit record.
Yeah, look, I would say that the key message is that, to maintain our good credit record is that we must firstly live within our means. Secondly, let us honor our commitments. Let us avoid unnecessary debt. Before you buy something or you need credit for something, really ask yourself, do I really need this? What other alternatives do I have? I would also say that, before you even consider, if you find yourself in a difficult financial position, it's not a shame to downgrade. People like to say that you are downgrading, but I look at it as, positively, that you are simply repositioning your finances. You are realizing that, okay, fine, although I love this car, although I love living in this 10-bedroom house, actually, I can still live in a 3-bedroom house, So let us rather do things that are within our control. We need to maintain our good name. Even the Bible says that, a good name. It talks about a good name. So even, yes, your credit record, it's really your financial good name. So let us do everything we can to maintain it. Yeah.
There you have it, viewers at home. Let us do everything that we can do to maintain our good name. Good reputation is very important. My elder has touched on TransUnion. I do know that there is a free service that you can use once a year to actually manage your account and to see how much credit you can go with. That is very instrumental. Thank you so much for tuning in, for staying with us tonight. And until we see you next Friday, join us on Sunday. We have our Sunday services in the morning. They start at 9 o'clock, right? 9 o'clock, yes. Be part of Mount Calvary Pentecostal Church. Fellowship with us. We've learned a lot today about maintaining a good credit score. I hope at home you have taken notes and you will go back and also do your research and ensure that you keep a clean record. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Thank you.